It was a trip to California that started out fine. Nothing special, just a getaway with my girlfriend to shake off the monotony of life. The drive there was smooth. 10 hours of open road, early morning sun cutting through the windshield, and a playlist of old rock songs keeping us going. We hit the hotel by nightfall, crashed hard, and spent a few days pretending the world didn't exist. But the way back? That's when things shifted. We left around noon, figuring we'd beat the dark, but stops dragged on. Gas, snacks, a burger joint. And by the time we were deep into the drive, night had swallowed everything. The dashboard clock glowed 12:30 a.m. when I pulled off the freeway, my stomach growling loud enough to drown out the engine. There was a Wendy's up ahead, its neon sign flickering like a dying star. I grabbed a burger and fries, scarfing them down while steering with one hand. She didn't like that. Kept shooting me these sideways glances, her lips tight. I didn't care. I just wanted to get home, crawl into bed, and forget the ache in my back from hours behind the wheel. But the road had other plans. Rain started tapping the roof, soft at first, like it was testing us. I didn't think much of it. Just another annoyance on a night already stretched too thin. The rain picked up fast, turning from a drizzle to a full-on downpour in minutes. Sheets of water slammed the windshield, blurring the lines on the freeway. She snapped at me, her voice sharp over the roar of the storm. "Pull over. You can't eat and drive in this." I wanted to argue. Home was so close, maybe 3 hours. But the way the wipers were losing the fight against the rain made me think twice. I veered to the shoulder, tires crunching wet gravel, and killed the engine. The world outside turned into a gray smear, headlights barely piercing the deluge. I finished my fries, the greasy salt sticking to my fingers, while she sat there, arms crossed, staring out her window like I'd personally offended her. I didn't get it. Why the attitude? It's not like I'd planned the weather. My head was buzzing with irritation, but under it, something else stirred. A flicker of unease. Maybe it was the isolation, the way the storm cut us off from everything. I wiped my hands on my jeans, ready to start the car again, when it happened. A loud bang against my window, hard enough to make me jump. I froze, my hand halfway to the keys. She yelped, a quick, high-pitched sound that jolted me more than the noise. I turned my head slow, heart thudding, and there it was. A figure pressed against the glass, tall and dark, blocking out most of the window. Rain streamed around them, but I couldn't make out a face, just a shadow looming through the blur. My first thought was drunk or stranded, some poor bastard caught in the storm. But the way they stood there, unmoving, sent a chill down my spine. I didn't want to deal with this. Not now, not here. She whispered, "What the hell?" Her voice tight with panic. I cracked the door an inch, rain spitting inside, and shouted over the noise, "What do you want?" A woman's voice came back, shaky and desperate. "Please, I need a ride." She was soaked, hair plastered to her head, clothes clinging like a second skin. I hesitated, my gut screaming no. But what was I supposed to do? Leave her out there? I nodded toward the back seat. "Get in?" She climbed in fast, dripping everywhere, and I caught her eyes in the rear view, wide, hollow, like she'd seen something I hadn't. I pulled back onto the highway, the wipers slapping a frantic rhythm against the glass. The air in the car felt thick, heavy with wet clothes and unspoken tension. She, the woman, didn't say a word, just sat there, staring at the back of my head. I could feel it, her gaze drilling into me, and it made my skin crawl. I tried to shake it off, asked over my shoulder, "Where you headed?" No answer, just silence, thick and wrong. My girlfriend shot me a look, half pissed, half scared, and I knew she was thinking the same thing. Why'd you let her in? I didn't have a good answer. Maybe it was guilt, some dumb instinct to help, but now I was second-guessing every second of it. I glanced in the mirror again, and there she was, still watching me, her face blank but off. Not sad, not grateful, just empty, like a mask that didn't fit right. I cleared my throat, louder this time. "Next town's coming up. I'll drop you there." My voice sounded forced, too cheerful for the knot twisting in my stomach. She didn't even nod, just kept staring. The highway stretched out, a black ribbon swallowed by rain and night. I gripped the wheel tighter, trying to focus on the road, but my mind was spinning. Who was she? Why wouldn't she talk? My girlfriend shifted in her seat, her nails digging into her palms, and I could tell she was on edge too. I opened my mouth to say something, anything, to break the quiet when a scream ripped through the car. It was her, the woman, shrieking like something unhinged, right behind my head. Before I could react, her hands shot forward, cold and wet, wrapping around my throat. She squeezed hard, nails biting into my skin, and the car swerved as I gasped for air. My vision blurred, the road tilting wildly. My girlfriend lunged, clawing at her face, screaming, "Let go!" The woman howled, her grip loosening just enough for me to slam the brakes. We skidded, tires screeching, stopping inches from the median. I didn't think, just acted. I threw my door open, stumbled out into the rain, yanked the back door wide, and grabbed her. She thrashed, but I hauled her out and flung her onto the wet asphalt. She hit the ground hard, sprawling in a puddle, rain pounding her down. I stood over her, chest heaving, water streaming into my eyes. "Please," she started begging, her voice cracking. "Please, please." Over and over, like a broken record. Her hands reached up, clawing at the air, her face twisted with something I couldn't read. Pain, fear, madness, I don't know. My girlfriend yelled from the car, "Get back in!" But I couldn't move, not yet. I stared at her, this stranger I'd tried to help, and felt a sick mix of anger and guilt. What was she running from? Or worse, what was she running to? She pounded the ground, sobbing now, but I turned away. I climbed back in, slammed the door, locked it fast. She scrambled up, banging on the window, her screams turning feral again, raw and unhuman. I hit the gas, peeling out, her fists thumping against the glass fading behind us. My hands shook on the wheel, my throat burning where she'd grabbed me. I didn't look back. Couldn't. We didn't stop again. 3 hours straight, rain hammering the car, silence choking the space between us. My girlfriend called the cops, her voice trembling as she described some crazy woman on the highway. They said they'd check it out, but I didn't care. I just wanted distance, miles between us and her. We got home at dawn, soaked and hollowed out. I collapsed on the couch, still feeling her hands on my neck, still seeing those empty eyes in the mirror. My girlfriend wouldn't talk about it, wouldn't even look at the backseat for days. Me? I kept replaying it, every second, wondering what I'd missed. Was she lost, desperate, or something else? Something that didn't belong out there. I don't sleep much now. The sound of rain sets me off, makes me check the locks twice. I tell myself she's gone, that it's over. But sometimes late at night, I wonder if she's still out there, waiting for the next car to stop. And if she is, I hope to God it's not mine. It was 2020, right when COVID turned the world into a ghost town. I'd been pulling overnight shifts at the hospital, the kind that leave you hollowed out, hours of masks, beeping monitors, and patients who'd look at you like you could fix everything. By the time my shift ended, it was usually 2 or 3 a.m., and all I wanted was my bed. That night, I stumbled out to my car, the cold biting at my knuckles as I fumbled with the keys. The Parkway home was my lifeline, a 10-mile stretch of asphalt cutting through the suburbs, always empty, even before the pandemic emptied it further. I liked it that way. No traffic, no slowpokes, just me and the hum of my old sedan. I turned up the heat, let the fog clear from the windshield, and started driving, my mind half dead from exhaustion. The radio sputtered some late-night talk show, but I barely listened, just white noise to keep me awake. I kept my eyes on the road, telling myself it was just another night. Routine, safe. But something about the stillness felt heavier tonight, like the dark was holding its breath. About 5 miles in, my headlights caught something, a flicker of red pulsing on the shoulder. An SOS light, small and cheap, the kind you'd buy at a gas station. Next to it was a beat-up car, its taillights glowing faintly in the gloom. I slowed down, squinting through the dark. A guy stood there, waving his arms like he'd been waiting for me. My gut twisted a little. Nobody's ever out here this late. I could have kept driving. Most nights I would have. But I'd had a good shift, saved a patient who'd crashed, and maybe that put me in a rare mood to help. I pulled over in front of him, flipped on my hazards, and stepped out, the cold air hitting me like a slap. He walked toward me, hands stuffed in his jacket pockets, his face half hidden by a COVID mask. "Car's dead," he said, his voice rough with a faint accent I couldn't place. "Battery's gone after I sat here too long." I nodded, trying to stay calm even though my tired brain was already second-guessing this. "You got jumper cables?" I asked. He shook his head. Great. I didn't have cables either, never needed them. So I stood there, awkward, wondering how to get out of this without looking like a jerk. Then he hit me with it. "Can I borrow your phone? Mine's dead too." My stomach dropped. Handing my phone to a stranger at 3 a.m. on a deserted road? Every instinct screamed no. But he looked harmless. Late 20s maybe, skinny build, eyes darting like he was nervous. I told myself I was overthinking it, that exhaustion was making me paranoid. "Sure," I said, unlocking it and opening the call app before handing it over. He took it, muttered a thanks, and stepped away, pacing toward his car as he dialed. I couldn't hear what he said, just a low murmur swallowed by the night. My hands fidgeted in my pockets, the cold seeping deeper. I didn't like this, not one bit. I glanced at his car, door still open, keys glinting in the ignition. A dumb idea hit me. Maybe I could check it myself, speed this up, get out of here. I slid into his driver's seat, the stale smell of cigarettes and sweat hitting me hard. The keys were right there, dangling like bait. I turned them one click, dash lights flared up, bright and alive. No dead battery. My heart thudded. I turned again, and the engine roared to life, smooth as anything. He'd lied. Before I could process it, something moved behind me, fast. Two skinny arms shot out from the back seat, wrapping around my throat, squeezing tight. I gasped, clawing at them, my vision spotting. A kid's voice, high, panicked, yelled from outside, "Hey, hey!" It was him, the guy with my phone, sprinting back toward the car. I thrashed, adrenaline surging, and broke free, shoving the kid off me. He was young, a teenager maybe, wide-eyed and scrambling back into the shadows of the seat. I didn't wait, bolted to my car, slammed the door, and peeled out as fast as the old engine could manage. My hands shook on the wheel, mind racing. A trap. They'd set me up. And then, bang! A gunshot cracked through the night, sharp and deafening. I ducked instinctively, glass shattering behind me. The rear windshield was gone. A jagged hole punched through it, cracks spiderwebbing out. He'd shot at me. That bastard had a gun. My foot slammed the gas, the car lurching forward at 70, 80 miles an hour, tires screaming on the pavement. I didn't look back, couldn't. My chest heaved, every breath ragged, my mind a blur of terror and rage. They tried to kill me, I kept thinking, over and over, like if I stopped, I'd fall apart. My phone was still with him, unlocked, full of my life, address, bank apps, everything. I'd handed it right to him like an idiot. The Parkway stretched out, endless and black, and I drove blind, praying I'd make it home before he figured out where home was. I didn't stop, didn't slow down, not until my house came into view. Porch light, flickering like a lifeline. I stumbled inside, woke my parents with half-coherent yelling about what happened. My mom's face went pale. My dad grabbed the house phone and dialed 911, while I collapsed on the couch, still shaking. The cops came fast, took my story, every detail I could choke out. They told me to lock my phone remotely, so I borrowed my dad's, opened Find My iPhone, and froze it. Too late. By morning, I called AT&T, begged them to trace the last call. Nothing logged since yesterday's shift. He hadn't called anyone, just pretended to. Worse, I checked my Coinbase app on Dad's phone. Empty. Thousands of dollars in Bitcoin, gone, sent to some untraceable wallet. My stomach churned. They'd played me from the start, and I'd walked right into it. The cops stayed till dawn, but I couldn't shake the feeling they'd missed something. My phone's location died, either trashed or powered off. It was gone, and so was any chance of catching them. A week later, I was still jumping at shadows, barely sleeping. Then one night, my mom shook me awake, her voice tight. "There's someone outside," she whispered. My dad was already up, peering through the blinds. We crept downstairs, checked the backyard. Nothing. No footprints, no signs, just the wind rattling the fence. Mom wanted to call the cops again, but Dad said to wait, that it was probably nothing. I didn't buy it. My address was on that phone, maps, emails, everything. What if he'd found me? What if he was out there, watching, waiting for the right moment? 2 years have passed since then, and nothing's happened. No texts, no break-ins, but every creak in the house, every rustle outside, it's him in my head, standing there, gun in hand, smiling behind that mask. I don't stop for anyone on the road anymore. Never will. You can't trust the dark out there. It hides things, people, who want more than your help. They want you. And once they've got a piece of you, they don't let go. You have experienced a different life, a phenomenon that you cannot explain. Why? If so, share your story in the comments section below, because someone out there has also experienced the same thing. Don't be afraid to like the video, subscribe to the channel, because the next story could be even more interesting. Share your story. It was late summer 2011, and I was pushing 19, still riding that high of being young and untouchable in a nowhere town in southwestern Virginia. Life here was slow. Everything shut down by 10 p.m., leaving you to scrape together your own fun. That night, I was with my best buddy, a kid a few years younger, but just as restless. We'd spent the day bouncing around, hit the mall to scope out girls, cruised the streets with the windows down, top and bowled until the lanes closed. By midnight, we were wired, too alive to call it quits. Main Street was dead, so we wandered the back alleys, acting like we owned the shadows, laughing at nothing. We weren't scared. Nothing ever happened here. After grabbing hash browns at the only Waffle House still open and swinging by Walmart for no reason, we decided to keep the night going. The back roads were calling, those winding, lonely stretches where we'd always found our freedom. I turned the wheel of my old Chevy onto a road we didn't know well, one I'd only driven once in daylight. It started paved, smooth under the tires, but a mile in, it crossed into Virginia and crumbled into dirt, rough and pitted from neglect. Trees loomed thick on both sides, their branches clawing at the sky, blotting out the stars. We were used to this, making our own adventures out here. But something about this stretch felt off. Maybe it was how quiet it was, or how the county didn't bother maintaining it. My buddy cracked a joke about getting stuck, and I laughed, but my grip on the wheel tightened. We crawled along, headlights slicing through the dark, when a faint glow caught my eye, a porch light flickering through the woods. Under it stood a guy, stock still, watching us. His head turned slow as we passed, tracking us like a hunter sizing up prey. My stomach did a little flip, but I brushed it off. Probably just some redneck smoking a cigarette. Still, I pressed the gas a bit harder, eager to leave him behind. We didn't talk about the guy, but I could feel my buddy's tension. His usual chatter died down, replaced by quick glances out the window. I kept my eyes on the road, telling myself it was nothing, just some loner minding his business. The dirt finally gave way to pavement again, a familiar ridge road I'd driven 100 times, winding along the mountain with the town twinkling below. The air felt lighter up here, and I let myself relax, soaking in the view. We were back in our element, invincible again, or so I thought. I was starting to think the night could end on a high note, just another story to tell over beers someday. But that's when I saw it, a white shape up ahead, glowing in the headlights. My foot eased off the gas. Deer were everywhere out here, but this didn't move right. It wasn't darting or grazing, it was walking, slow and hunched, right in my lane. I squinted, leaning forward as the shape sharpened. Not a deer. A person, an old woman, back bent like a question mark, shuffling against traffic. Her hair hung long and gray, tangled like she hadn't brushed it in years, and she wore a white t-shirt and pants that shimmered under the beams. My buddy muttered, "What the hell's she doing out here?" And I didn't have an answer. It was pushing 4 a.m. No one walked these roads this late, especially not some grandma. My chest tightened, a mix of pity and unease creeping in. Maybe she was lost, hurt, needed help. We were maybe 50 feet away when she stopped. Then she turned. Her face hit me like a punch. Deep-set eyes sunk into dark hollows, skin sagging and greasy, like she'd aged 100 years in a meth den. But that wasn't the worst. Her shirt and pants were splattered with dried blood, crusty and dark, and in her right hand, she gripped a butcher knife, its blade catching the light. My brain froze, stuck between run and help her. Then she raised her arms and charged. She came at us fast, way faster than she should have, arms flailing like a scarecrow gone mad. The knife slashed the air and she screamed, raw, guttural, not words, just noise. My heart slammed into my throat, every instinct screaming to floor it. My buddy yelled, "Go, go, go," and I did, stomping the gas so hard the engine roared. She lunged as we peeled out, close enough that I swear I saw her eyes lock on mine. Black, empty, feral. The tires squealed, kicking up gravel, and she vanished into the dark behind us. I couldn't breathe right, my hands shaking on the wheel. My buddy was babbling, "What was that? What the hell was that?" But I couldn't answer. My mind was a mess. Had she been attacked? Was she the attacker? The blood, the knife, that face, it didn't add up, and that made it worse. I just kept driving, pushing the speedometer past 70, desperate to put miles between us and her. We didn't head straight home. I took a detour, 35 minutes instead of 5, zigzagging through back roads like she could somehow catch up on foot. It was irrational, but I didn't care. I needed distance, time to think. My buddy clutched the door handle, pale as a ghost, muttering about calling the cops. I didn't want to, didn't know how to explain it without sounding crazy, but the image of her wouldn't leave me. Blood-soaked, knife in hand, running at us like a nightmare come to life. We watched the news for days after, expecting a report, missing woman, murder, something. Nothing came up. She was a phantom, real and unreal all at once. I kept replaying it. Her face, her scream, the way she moved. Had I missed a chance to help her? Or had I dodged something worse? Guilt and relief twisted together, gnawing at me every time I closed my eyes. My buddy swore off late-night drives after that, and I couldn't blame him. We stuck closer after, bonded by the terror neither of us could shake. Years later, I'm married now, living on that same ridge road with my wife. I drive it daily, past where we saw her, and it's peaceful, birds chirping, sunlight filtering through the pines. I've never seen that woman again, not a trace. But earlier this year, cops busted a drug and fighting ring a few miles down where that guy stood watching us. Same house? I don't know. Back then, no one talked about that kind of thing around here, but now I wonder, was he a lookout? Was she running from them, covered in someone else's blood? Or was she part of it, a killer stalking the dark? I'll never know. The questions linger, sharp and cold, cutting deeper the more I think about them. I tell myself I'm safe now, that it's over, but every time I drive that road at night, I check my mirrors. Just in case. That summer stripped something from me. Some piece of fearless youth I can't get back. She's out there in my head, waiting in the shadows, and I'm still running from her. Even if I don't admit it,